Hello. Today we're working with Ozzy, who belongs to a client of mine, and I want to demonstrate the 3 points of softening in the head, the poll, and the neck. And I believe I covered this inside another video I've done, but I wanted to do one just focusing on this. So the 3 points that I really want them to be able to soften, and I start it on the ground, and then I give them a cue that I'm able to use when I'm under saddle. So the first place that I want them to be able to soften is I put my hand right on their forehead, pinky beside one eye, thumb beside the other, and I keep my hand super soft. And all I want here is for I want his brain to soften is really what I want to soften. So I want him to be present, not thinking about food or something over another horse over there, not withdrawing into himself and blocking everything out. I want him to be right here and present and just relaxed. Good. Good job. Very good. Oh, we're going to try that again. And it's hard to describe this one because obviously I have my hand more or less on his skull, so it's not like the skull softens, but his eyes will soften, and I can kind of feel there's just not so much resistance inside his brain. Like I said, it's one that you have to learn how to feel, and it's a hard one to describe. But if you watch their eyes, the eyes tend to soften and just relax a little bit. So that's probably, when you're first starting this one, that's your best indication that he's softening there. And I'm going to turn my nice little lead rope into rein so that I can demonstrate how we want to do all of these if we're actually riding. So for this one, I start just with my hand there until he starts to figure out that means soften, be present in your brain. Good job, buddy. Good. And then once he starts figuring out what that means, I'll put my hand here. Yeah. And then I'll put my hand right across his withers. Good. I just want the same soften. Another way you can kind of tell is if you just move your hand around a little bit, his head should kind of follow if he is soft, his head will kind of follow your hand around a little bit. There it went. Good boy. Good boy. And then once I get starting here and then hand here, then I'll reverse the order. We're not soft. No, we are not. We are in the corral at the moment, aren't you? Yeah. Your brain is with your girlfriend over there. Yeah, there you came. Almost. There. Oh, he can't back up. So the key of this is you don't want him trying to get away from the pressure. The answer isn't getting away from any sort of pressure he feels like is there. So it's not about dropping his head. It's not about backing up. It's just about softening his body. So, start with just the hand, then I add hand here and hand here, and then eventually I'll start, good, with my hand here. Good job, very good. And when I put my hand here, I don't get a response in his eyes and in his brain, which I'm not getting right now. He's walked over. He can see his girlfriend in the pasture over there. And so his brain is over with his girlfriend. If I don't get the softening I want, yes, there you are. I'll wait till he stops backing up. Good job. Good boy. Good boy. We're not eating. Can you back up, please? Yep, I need you back up. Yes. Good. Good boy. Very good boy. Good job. All right, so the first spot is right there between the eyes, and remember that softens the, good job, buddy. His brain brings it present. The next spot that I do, good job, is I want him to be able to hinge right here, kind of where his neck joins his shoulder. And I want him to be able to hinge right here, and it's not about lowering his head. Good boy. Though when he does it correctly, he will lower his head. It's about lowering this junction right here. We don't actually need to go as low as he did, but that was great. I'm going to let him be. So I just start with putting my hand right there in that crease, and if I need to push a little bit, just to remind him that he needs to pay attention to this spot right here. Yes, good boy. Good job. Then I can put just a teeny bit of pressure right there. And once he gets good at this, which he is good at this one, he likes this one. His neck is hinged fairly low anyway, so this one is an easier one for him. Once he gets that, then I want to teach him how to do it if I'm on him. So I'm going to have the reins right in that same spot, right here, and they're going to lift backwards a little bit. So I want them to come at an angle this way. I don't want them lifting up. And if he doesn't know what that means, I'm just going to put my hand right back there on this spot right here. Can you hinge right here and let go of some of that tension that's right here? Can you do that? He's like, no, I'd just like a massage, please. That would be great. Here, yeah. Can you hinge that a little bit? I promise you can. Yes, you can. Right here. Right here. Almost. Almost. Are you a little stuck? I see you're a little stuck. Right here. Here. Right here. You can do it, I promise. Yeah, right there. You're doing it with your head. I need you to do it with your neck. Right here. Right here. Yeah, we got just a teeny bit. Good boy. Good boy. Can you bring your brain back here? I know there's horses over there too.
There's a deer too.
Oh, is there a deer too? All sorts of things happening. I think you can bring your brain right back here. I don't think the deer is a problem. I promise. Can't even see your face because you have so much hair. It's amazing. Stick back there. Good. You don't get to back up. Going away from the pressure isn't the answer. You come forward. Back where you were. Okay. There you go. Good job. Very good. Good boy. Alright, shall we try this side? See if you do better on this side? Pull your hair again. Good. Ready? Yep, right there. Good boy. Good job. That was very nice. No, we're still not eating the poop. Back up. Can you wake up? Thank you. Yeah, I need you to wake up a little bit. Thank you. Good boy. Good job. Good job. All right, the third spot, and for most horses, this is the hardest spot. The third part is the pull, and once again, this isn't about lowering the head, though occasionally the head does lower. It's about that actual atlas or pole joint softening up. And so what I should feel when I take my hand like this and I just put it kind of right along his neck there, in between his two ears, I should feel, yeah, good job, that joint right there soften up. So for me, it would be the same as somebody putting their hand right here. And right now, my neck is super, super tight, and I can move my head, kind of close my whole body with it, but I can kind of move it a little bit. I can put it down, I can pick it back up, but that is locked up. It is not soft, it is tense all the way down there, and that's what it does to them. If you can feel doing this to yourself, if you tighten here, it tightens all the way down your spine. And we don't want that for them. And so this spot right here, it's not about him moving his head, because I can still move my head and keep that pretty locked. It's about letting go of that tension and softening. So the next, that spot right there on the pole, which is the atlas in the bone joint there is the atlas. It just needs to soften. And so at the beginning, we just need a teeny, teeny bit of soften, because that is one of the points where they, just like us, that they hold a lot of tension, and so them letting go of that is difficult for them. So I just have my hand right here, and you can move, if they're not softening, you can move your hand back and forth just a little bit, just kind of rock them a little bit, or you can also pulse just a little bit. The key is to keep your hand super soft. We don't want to ever tighten our hand here, because that tells him he's supposed to tighten. And we need that super loose. Good. And again, that's a feel under your hand of it going from tight and locked up to just softening up a little bit and not having so much tension right there under your hand. So right now it's fairly locked. And he doesn't particularly want to let it go. And so sometimes if that one is really, really stuck, you can combine it with, can you come back and be present underneath my hand here? And he's breathing through it. So he recognizes at this point that there's some tension there. And you can feel, I don't know if you can hear him in the video. There, almost. There it went. Good job. So in that case, his head did go down a little bit. Good boy. But that wasn't the point of it. The point was him to just let it go a little bit. So sometimes they will drop their head. Sometimes they won't. The dropping the head doesn't matter. What you do want to notice is if he drops his head and he's just trying to get away from the pressure, you won't feel any sort of softening or release here. That head will just drop down, and it's them trying to get away from the pressure rather than softening into the pressure. Because the answer for me, basically no matter what I'm doing, is I want them to soften into pressure, not try to get away from pressure. That doesn't mean that they don't move sometimes. Sometimes I want them to. But the answer, even when they're moving, is doing it softly, not just moving. And that's what we want with this. There, almost. There it went. Good job. Good boy. Very good.
Now can I go back to Mia?
And then to do that one from riding, and this one works much better when you have a bit, simply because when we lift the way that we're going to lift, it kind of lifts the bit into their mouth, which should cause them to relax the pole a little bit. But I have found it helps for them to know what you're asking before you actually ask it from their back. So I have my hand there just like I normally would, and then I want these reins to lift basically straight up. So unlike the one where I want him to release his neck, which they come back, and in that line of where the neck and the shoulder join, this one I want to lift basically straight up. Good. Like I said, we'll raise the bit in their mouth a little bit, and we want them to soften onto that bit and soften at the pole, not resist it. There it went. Good job. Very good. So in that case, his head didn't move, but he did soften the joint. And at this point, that's all I want. Eventually, we'll be able to kind of combine all these and he'll be able to be present here. He'll be able to hinge right here at the neck shoulder joint and bring that neck down where it should be, because if that neck is down where it should be, it's easier for them to engage their core, which helps with collection. And if they can soften at that pole, they'll be on the bit where we need them to be. Good job, buddy. Good boy. So if we can learn, they can learn these 3 softening points in their head, pole, and neck, it makes it a whole lot easier for them to stay calm when you're riding them, because you have a cue that you're giving them. Remember, we can loosen this, we can stay soft here, and then it also helps tremendously with collection. Good job, Ozzy. Thank you for being my demonstrator. You did a good job. Can you bring your brain back here, please, before we leave? Yes, thank you. Good boy. Very nice. Good job, buddy. Are you going to come tell them goodbye?